Welcome back, everyone, to the DirtX podcast presented by DirtX Store. Make sure to go to dirtxstore.com to check out all our new designs and t-shirts, even if you don't like them or not. Definitely check them out. Cushion Bangin and I have been busy. Obviously, I was at the Chili Bowl Nationals. Cushion Bangin's been watching from the comfort of his couch. Don't talk to us about football because, well, both of our teams lost recently, and yeah, luckily this is a racing podcast, but my Miami Hurricanes just lost the national championship. His Chicago Bears just lost their playoff game in overtime. So, yeah, don't talk sports with us. Just talk racing. We saw some awesome racing this past week. So, yeah, Cushion Banging, thanks for letting me go on my Chili Bowl week there. And now we get to talk about it.
Yeah, don't worry. I was here slaving away, you know, banging stuff out, getting yelled at, banging more stuff out, getting surprise letters. Tis the life.
Yeah, we won't go in too much detail with that for legal reasons, but yeah, it was an awesome time. My first ever Chili Bowl. So let's just kind of knock that out of the park. Rocking my new RTJ shirt here with his midget and micro sprint on the back. So one of the guys who pulled double duty, going from Wild West, showed up one night. Got Night Owl Design over there, who's one of our guests. Shout out to Brady there. Hoot hoot. Of course, he's been busy knocking out some new schemes for this year. And yeah, it was a busy week. Flew in on Sunday, went straight to practice. Practice day was super long. 407 cars, record entries. And then Monday through Friday, all the prelims, really good racing going on. And then Saturday was the big show. So I know, Cushion Banging, you were tuned in watching some of it. What were your thoughts on the racing? I think it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was kind of treacherous in some spots, but that's kind of what they're aiming for. They're trying to make it a little bit dome-like, where you get some character here and there. You got to run kind of weird lines. On Seabell's prelim night, he found a line nobody else did, kind of an arky line, and he catapulted his car straight to the front with that. It felt like every night the track was a little bit different here or there, and you saw cars kind of adapt to it and the cars do well on prelim night. And then come Saturday, some cars struggled I had Blake Hahn. I thought he was one of the fastest cars. Seeing him come off the berm and just dig like he did, I didn't think any other car could do it. But then feature time, he ran good. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the same car, and it kind of had different situations for different cars. You saw Larson go out early. You saw that whole Axum, incident. And then it was a blast all week, and it's nothing more exciting to me than to just watch that, and then watching it all day Saturday to get up and then start with the mains and then watch it all the way down is something I try to do every year. Sometimes work and stuff doesn't allow me to, but I do try to take that day off and do that.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, some of the biggest storylines I thought throughout the week on the prelim nights was Blake Hahn getting that win on Tuesday. Definitely wasn't the most stacked night, but anytime Blake Hahn shows up inside there, I mean, his family, basically owns the event, so he's got to put on for the local Oklahoma crowd. And Monday night was pretty predictable. Kyle Larson, after he had a flip right in front of me in turn one, ends up recovering, finishes third in his heat race, and then goes on and wins his prelim, which is crazy. And then Christopher Bell, no surprise, wins the race to champions. I talked to Ricky Thornton Jr. right before the that event, and kind of was asking him how he felt about the midget. Just won a feature at the Wild West Shootout on the late model, and then hops on Joe Adams' plane, and then flies to Tulsa and hops in a midget. So he felt like he was kind of iffy, trying to get back used to it again. But it's RTJ. He usually adapts pretty quickly. But we both agreed that using the Race of Champions as like a practice is helps extra laps around the Tulsa Expo Center. So Emerson Axum, Logan Seavey, those guys were at the top of their game. Justin Grant, they were really fast throughout the week. And the Swindell Speed Lab cars, man, we have to talk about those guys. All four of them locking into the feature on Saturday.
Absolute insanity. And I called it out a little bit a few episodes ago. He's the new kingpin of Tulsa, Oklahoma. His dad did it back in the day. Kevin even did it, before his horrific injury that it just sucked. But he has adapted so well to car owner and car crew chief and engineer and everything else. And it's mesmerizing to watch that he can make a car that a 14-year-old kid can go out and make it look like child's play. Just carving through the field, with sliders with confidence and everything like that. Absolutely incredible job, Kevin Swindell.
Yeah, no doubt, with Axum and CV up there battling for the win. And Jet Barnes, 14 years old, out of California, man, he put a name on himself throughout the week. Won a B main, made the show. That kid looked like he had years of experience behind the wheel. He was just gassing it up. He was throwing sliders on guys, triple his age. So really impressive by that kid. I think that's going to be one of the stars in the future here for open wheel racing. Kyle Cummins making the show as well. Didn't have the best result he wanted, and Jet Barnes didn't either, but still great showings by the whole Swindell team, and really shows how much Swindell goes into this whole week of preparation. Means a lot to his family, obviously, with the success that he and both Sammy had. Seeing Sammy out there, he's like the old dog. He's the first one in there in the morning. Like he's always wait when the doors open. He walks in there and he's working on his cart all day long. I always say they don't make them like they used to, but yeah, Sammy's a different breed. He's old school, and he doesn't give rat's ass about anybody saying that he's getting too old. So I like seeing Sammy getting all fired up.
Listen, folks, Sammy can still go too. It's not just your run of the mill 70-year-old hopping in a car. He can compete and he has speed and he still has the same skill he had all his life. Has he lost a few ticks? Sure. I'd accept that, but he's not a low class in a high class field. He's right there. He's got the same speed. Is he up to date with technology? The jury's out on that. His prelim night and watching him carve through the mains until, he broke the right front and dug it into the ground and made a pole vault out of his car. He had best a shot to make it as anybody.
Yeah, and some other topics that were buzzed around the Expo Center was one of the guys I was staying with at my Airbnb there, Brayton Laster, ARCA driver. Nice guy. I was able to get to know him more personally there, staying a couple days together. So yeah, Brayton runs ARCA, and he decided that he wanted to run the Chili Bowl for the first time. Paid this team to run, and it was huge breakout topic on social media in the dirt racing world. So I know you have your thoughts, coaching banging, but wanted to share a little bit what if I know that from Brayton's standpoint that he felt like the car should have been prepared a little bit more for his sake, and that with the seat mount, they took foam out underneath of his pad and tried to make sure that his head cleared the roll cage. And we even drove to a factory for one of the manufacturers in Tulsa that builds race cars, and they were trying to get an extra halo so that way his helmet could clear. But I feel bad for the kid. He wasn't able to run due to safety. The officials said that he wasn't allowed to. So I understand, we've had some bad crashes there not too long ago. Torgerson flew out of the car. So obviously scary stuff. They want these drivers to be safe. But what are your thoughts about that? I think it could have been prevented, but it's a really tough subject.
Yeah, so that's it, right? Yes, everything you said's true. Nobody should have their head poking out of a roll bar and anything of that nature. You shouldn't be within 3 inches of that, even being a possibility in my eyes. Um, on the coin flip side of this, there's two sides to every story, right? And I don't know if it was the owner or one of the crew chiefs or whatever came out and pretty much, kind of dogged him a little bit to where he didn't dog anybody, and I'll give him that. He had the utmost respect for it. I think the general public needed to hear the other side of the story. The guy that posted it, I don't remember his name. I don't know much about these. But pretty much said that he, took his time getting there to get everything fitted. Came, 30 minutes to go left in practice, and just didn't give the effort to get everything fixed. That he didn't fit in the seat. He did. Said he didn't feel comfortable in the seat, so I wanted to put foam padding under it because it was too hard. While the foam padding made him stick out higher. Just kind of a two sides to every story of it. I would have loved to seen the kid, run everything like that. I think the whole world did. Most of social media is behind him, but there was a consensus that I took sides on this when I posted. I didn't. I just wanted to lay out the facts, and the facts made it look like he was being penalized for recording a somewhat brutal fight. I don't know. It was kind of hearsay. It was definitely a live action, social media viral fight. Was it a good fight? I no, but it definitely pointed like they were, coming down on him a little bit. And I don't. Did he practice the car? Did that happen?
Not even on Sunday. So he was there in the building, and they couldn't even get the car out there on a track to practice. So he was going into his week, without any practice laps. And yeah, it just sucks because I know, on the personal side, I won't share the numbers, but he did, bring his own sponsorship and his own money to that ride. And it's, you know, respectfully not the best equipment, right? It's a Badger midget. It's not going to be out there competing with Emerson Axum and Logan Seavey and all that. But the kid wants to be a part of the Chili Bowl, and I understand. Not everybody can say as a race car driver or person in general who's not a race car driver that they are a part of the Chili Bowl. So they put a lot of effort into it. Obviously, there's two sides to every story, but yeah, I just personally feel bad for Brayton, and hopefully one day, maybe next year, he can come back, be able to fit, and get that Chili Bowl experience he was hoping for.
Yeah, I think the whole world almost kind of wanted to see it and was happy for him. I just hope he kind of learned a little bit with this whole instance. I hope that he comes better spirit and better prepared and more effort put out on his side in order to make this work because he is a big kid. And I've preached this every time we've talked about midgets. Midgets is not a big guy sport. It's not. You have to, I mean, I have a picture I was actually going to send to you and actually post it. I'll spoil it a little bit, but there was a video of Jet Barnes and Logan Seavey. You wanna take a bet on which one's taller?
Probably Barnes.
Yeah, Jet Barnes, 14 years old, is bigger than Logan Seavey in every way, shape, or form. He's good, probably a couple inches taller, and I was shocked when that video posted, but I got a clip of it and I was gonna post it, but it's a little guy's brain. It is what it is. So he's gotta come better prepared. He's gotta be, more open-minded, and listen, stuffing him in a midget ain't gonna be comfortable, big dog. If you wanna do it, you gotta suffer a little bit. So it is what it is.
And moving on to the Alphabet Suit Day, man, just watching that was super cool. I mean, being my first ever Chili Bowl and having a alphabet soup run that we've never seen before, 9 features that Darren Nida and Mac Leopard went through. The Top Row Rowdies were going absolutely nuts. The fans were standing up and cheering every time the drivers would come by. Those guys were awesome. Definitely future stars of the sport. What were your thoughts going through there? I know social media was buzzing about it. Get this guy some soup. I know Darren Nida had the Mission Food sponsor on there, which was kind of cool. Yeah, what are your thoughts watching that?
Yeah, it was amazing to watch. Everybody in the whole world was pulling for the kid. He came out and very few knew. I didn't know who he was. I'll be the first to admit it. I had no idea who the kid was, and then to see him carve through there, and then the leopard kid also just maxing out, and then there was one more, and his name is gonna escape my brain, all going for the record of a soup run. And granted, that record is held by one of the top performers Tulsa's ever had. So it's not a run of the mill award, record, anything like that. And then for it to be almost broken 3 times, it was broken twice. To be almost broken 3 times is absolute insanity.
Yeah, and I know people were talking about how Darren Nida's car was only a 3-cylinder car, and it was pretty impressive. But they were kind of not given the credit that was due because, well, the guys that were wrenching on that car were Jason McDougal, who went on that tremendous run, was helping out on Darren Nida's car, and then Cody Swanson, one of the biggest legends of USAC racing. He's now
Yeah.
the Silver Crown director. I mean, you got two guys like that. Bringing your car in, changing the tires, making adjustments, adjusting the shocks. It was really cool to watch and see. And then, Mac was running for Chase McDermott, another really good racer who has stepped back and gone to the car owner role. Man, watching those guys, they were busy fixing Steven Snyder Jr.'s car. We're able to get him out for his prelim, and then being able to turn around and have Mac out there going through that super run. It's really cool to watch. And if anybody hasn't been to Chili Bowl, like you just have to go, even if it's on Saturday for Alphabet Soup and the champion race, you have to see it in person.
Sorry about that. My texts are blowing up for good reason. I don't answer most people on air. Think you know
Right.
who it is as well as I do. Yeah, it was just insane to watch overall. I was happy, and then, starting that early in the day where I did and I started watching where Darren started, you forget, dude, that there's like 12 more mains to go. So even when Darren got out, there's guys that had a chance to win his spot, the record that he broke from what, the M main up? Like, it's crazy, the opportunity.
Well, and finally, on the Chili Bowl subject was the A main feature. And wow, I had a front row seat to absolute chaos. Kyle Larson ended up getting the pole through the pole redraw there. And man, I couldn't believe with my own eyes what I saw with the way those guys go in the corner and they absolutely park it on their nose. Like there was like any morals were out the window. Like everybody knew they were going to park it on their nose, and you're either going to lift or you're going to end up in the fence. And that's exactly what happened. So I was really impressed with Emerson Axum getting around Kyle Larson cleanly because I mean, before the A main, me and you texted and we thought this is about to be a Larson show. He's about to stink it up. He's going to get another driller, but Axum went around him cleanly. He went out to the lead, and then Larson was really trying to stay with him. And then he ran into Leary and then flipped, and that was it for Larson. So I was like, oh man, we're going to see somebody new win this year. And sure enough, here comes CV, his teammate. They were kind of, kind of riding along. CV wasn't trying to jab at Axum at all, team orders on that part. But I thought for sure CV towards the end there was going to try to get around Axum to steal the win away. And then obviously Justin Grant comes and spoils the party there. And fortunately, I thought, man, this might be Grant's year. I know you picked him to win this year. And I was like, wow, Cushabane's going to get it right. And then it sucked that I saw Grant. Next thing you know, I look and he's on his lid, CV making contact with them. And, Grant was going for it. He admitted it. He wanted to win. He's been chasing a gold driller. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Justin Grant drives hard, period. He is one of the hardest drivers at even younger days up until now. He damn near broke his foot clean off. The dude just drives with his foot through the floorboard at all times. So seeing that wasn't really a surprise for me. He tries to be as clean as possible. He threw a couple dirty ones, but I think especially their sliders have always been a two-way street. They have been, one guy has to see it coming, give him the benefit of the doubt to, at least ease off the throttle and point it back down. But if you don't see one of these blind sides coming, it's going to be bad. And we saw that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. I think I got a phone call. Can you see who that is?
Oh, we got Darren Knight calling Mr. Soup Hero himself.
Uh, hold on. I'll put you on speaker here. Is this the Chili Bowl record holder, Darren?
Yes.
Oh man, I heard a rumor. I heard that you were going to be one of our guests for our next episode. Is that true? Well, you interrupted Jacob, but he's got a big smile on his face, so I think he's game for it too. So I know, like I told you, you're not old enough to drink, but we'll get you some juice boxes or something, and we'll get you on here. Yeah, hey, listen, ain't nobody too old for Kool Aid Jammers. First and foremost, I think any of us will smash those. All right, big dog. We'll see you this weekend. See ya.
That's Darren Knight, folks, the Soup Hero, who I did run into at the Tulsa airport at very early times in the morning, along with Emerson Axum, which is pretty cool, but we'll get to that. But just what do you think about Emerson Axum finally getting that Chili Bowl Nationals win? He's won multiple times at the Tulsa Shootout in the micros. He comes from the micro background. And I feel like this is the passing of the torch, right? Because we've seen all these NASCAR guys like Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, it's very streaky how many times they win these golden drillers. We had that little year where Tanner Thorson got it, but he hasn't been able to get it since. And now Emerson Axum, comes out of nowhere and finally gets it. So is this going to be the Emerson Axum era in the next couple of years, you think?
That's tough. I would say probably. I would buy into that a little bit, strictly because he's driving for Kevin. Kevin has the place figured out. He knows what he wants the car to do. And now, adding multiple cars, he can take his crew chiefness to everybody else's driving style. He figured CV out, right? He's got the technology, he's got the setup, he's got everything to match Logan. Logan's going to be in contention anytime he walks in that building. Now you have another champion under your belt with Emerson Axum. So not only, and they don't drive the same. Emerson drives way harder than CV 9 out of 10 times. CV's more methodical, where Emerson just goes. But that car allowed Emerson to make better decisions too. So I could see it, but at the same time, I could see Logan coming back. I could see Jet Barnes putting it up there, and I don't know if Kyle's going to be permanent in the fourth car for them. I don't see that being permanent, but I could see him. Anything that Swindell touches and puts a driver in is in contention.
And I can't forget the guys like KTJ, Kevin Thomas Jr., and Hank Davis there having absolute monster runs there at the end. I didn't even pay attention to Kevin Thomas Jr. starting towards the back, ends up second and almost winning the damn thing. So really impressive there. Were you surprised by seeing those guys come out of nowhere and steal the podium away from Stevie?
I was not. I think Hank Davis is your best kept secret in midget racing. How do you not like the dude? First and foremost, he's a dude's dude. He's a real guy. Like he even said in the interview, I'm going to go home and hang out with my high school friends. He's not a part of this stigma, and he's hard not to like. But he's, we have dome darlings, right? Nobody knows who you are till you go to the dome and perform. I think the Chili Bowl has some of them too, with Blake Hahn, with Hank Davis. At the same time, they get to compete with I'll say it, the best drivers ever. We may never have a talent-rich field like we have now with Larson, with Corey Day, with, the guys that can go with Ricky, that can go drive anything, and you get almost this bubble of talent that can't be found anywhere else in the world. So, for them to go out there and then podium against the world's best drivers is just it's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, and I was hanging out in infield with a lot of other, photographers and videographers and influencers, and we could all agree that that was some of the best racing we've seen in a long time. Not just for the Chili Bowl, just dirt racing in general, and just how packed every single night was. Like I was rubbing shoulders with people anytime I was in the pit area, going out to get food or go to the bathroom. There was lines for the bathroom. I had to hold myself a couple times there, trying to wait for a break. Man, it was incredible to see how many people actually showed up and from other countries too. I mean, our guy Wout Hoffman's from the Netherlands put it in the show for his very first time. Guys coming from England, Brandon Carr and James France and all that. So it was really cool seeing the international aspect and then the parade of the lap of with the flags and all that. That was really cool to see how many people representing not just our states but the other countries. And man, I got chills during intros being right there and they're announcing the guys and Brian Halbert doing his "It's the Chili Bowl" like
Mhm.
whole thing. Like and Tony Store being there, I mean, that's the guy who I basically looked up to growing up. So him being the grand marshal, like it just felt like it was unreal, like from a racing standpoint. Even meeting Kenny Wallace, him coming up and shaking my hand and talking to him about Volusia, like it's just nothing like any other event you can do and talk to people who are legends in the sport. So I had a great time. Thank you very much, the Chili Bowl. Here's my infield pass, and I hope I'm back next year to cover it.
And I hope you're not going alone. Anyway, no, it's, they're kinda having the same problem a lot of the other races are is it's getting too big. Seats are not open for people to buy. I'm just gonna be I'll lay it out there. Even if you were trying to go, you gotta know somebody that already has seats that can sell them to you. It's not easy to go to, but I'm gonna go. I haven't been. I wanna go at least for a Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it, and it's getting to the level that it's needed to be at for years. It's always been in our little clique, I'll call it, the one of the top races of the year, but now the world's getting ready to see it. I'd like Flo to post the numbers and compare it to, the Dome or something like that. I bet you it's gotta be close as far as viewership because I know everybody was watching it.
Yeah, definitely. And want to make it known that in dirt racing, there's no days off, and that's exactly what I learned. The following morning, I had to get up early and get on my flight back to Florida. And well, who do I run into walking down the terminal to my gate? None other than Chili Bowl champion Emerson Axum, sitting by himself with a gray hoodie over his head, eating a muffin, bloodshot eyes, looked like he did not sleep at all, and rightfully so. So I didn't want to bother him too much, but I did congratulate him. He was sitting there rewatching on his phone the finish from the night before. It was just his first time seeing what actually happened on the flow coverage. So that was pretty cool. And kind of talked to him a little bit. And he said that he was actually going to be on my plane going back to Florida. He's going to be testing. He tested yesterday on Monday. Today's Tuesday as we're recording this. His 410 wing sprint car for Klaus Meyer Petrie Racing. So definitely cool that he just won the biggest dirt race and now he's already back to work, getting ready for the season. So definitely cool with that. And speaking of Volusia, we're going to have some racing coming up this week. But before we get to that, we got some late model fender car stuff to talk about in the Wild West Shootout. So I didn't get to pay attention too much. I was busy in midget land, but Bang, I know you were tuned in for that, and we got a lot to discuss with that.
Yeah, there was action all over the place, not only in Tulsa, but there's action in Arizona too. A lot of hurt feelings. Um, Only one repeat winner the whole week, I believe. I'm not a stat man, but I believe Huddy's the only one to win 2 races the whole week. Um, I'll pat myself here. That was kinda my call to begin with. He was always in contention. A track like that with Huddy and Rumley, he's going to be tough to beat. And that's, Bobby struggled almost all week until the last night. He started getting faster as the week went on. And let's face it, you put the fastest guy in America at the same track all week, he's going to figure it out, right? It's what's going to happen. So, yeah, hurt feelings all over the place, Turbo, I think, had his boxing gloves on in about 4 arms. He pissed off Cade, he pissed off Superman. God only knows who else he pissed off that didn't speak up. So, it was fun, it was a wild week. What a circus of an event. I turned it on one time and they got barrel racing going on. I'm like, "What?" What the fuck are we doing? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I'd change about it. I'm not a promoter. I don't want to go up that route. I'm not a track owner, da da da. But as a paying fan, if I had tickets to that, I'd kind of be upset. Just say.
Yeah, I was talking to Drake Trotman, who was pulling double duty like RTJ and flying from the Wild West to the Chili Bowl and then back. And I told him, I hate that this event is going on while the Chili Bowl is going on because they kind of compete with each other. It's nice if you have flow and you can watch both, but from a fan standpoint, it's a lot to pay attention to. And obviously, being at the Chili Bowl, I had my mind on that. But from the races that I did watch, it was cool seeing RTJ show up one night. He could only run, and he wins in the Adam Family Racing equipment, and then flies back to Tulsa. And I was happy for Dotson getting that win there. We've been kind of talking about when is Ethan Dotson going to step up and really have a breakout year. I think it might be this year with the World of Outlaws. He's returning this year, so that was really cool. I think he hurt his hand after that one. If anybody watched his
Yeah.
celebration, that
He
was
hurt my hand and I was
yeah.
watching. But what's the difference from this year to last year? Two things: a gypsy and new shocks. That's about it, right? And I'm not going to sit here and talk shit on Cody Mallory. I'm not going to do it. He's one of the greatest the sport's ever seen as far as wrenching on a car, plain and simple. He is what he is, and teams have to accept that. But any team that he's touched, and Jacob, you go down the list here. I don't remember all of them, but any team that he's touched has had almost instant success. And that's exactly what Dotson did. The new Olin shock package that we've talked about in the last episode, if you're a follower, and then having Cody wrenching on that is just what he needed. And now all of a sudden, he's a contender.
Yeah, and for the viewers that are watching this that might not know, Owens is definitely stepping up big with the new Longhorn partnership, especially with the close niche teams. A lot of guys switching from Bilstein to Owens, and Dotson being one of them, Pierce being one of them. I know some other guys like my buddy Michael Leach, who's going to be running that Volusia. He's already got Owens on there, and then the Rumley car. This is Rumley's new project ever since he stopped working on Bilstein, and now Owens is going to be his new project. So that's why we saw Huddy be so fast there. So I definitely want to say pay attention to that. Some people are like, I don't really care about the chassis thing. I don't care about shocks. I just want to see good racing. But from a technical standpoint, it does matter. And, the guys are going to go with the best stuff. And we're going to see a big migration to Olin's probably within this next year.
Yeah, you're always chasing the dragon as a racer. You're always chasing that imaginary unicorn that's going to make you much better. And if you don't, you will quickly get left behind in this sport. And that goes for any form of racing, asphalt to open wheel to anything. You have to be chasing the new dragon and figuring it out fast, or you're going to get left behind. And a lot of these guys are on the inside scoop of that. Bobby had it in St. Louis, dominated. Kind of struggled out west. I get it. But these guys that are on it are on a different level.
And it's kind of a shame in a way, but I feel like there was good racing out west. But with the whole topic of JD versus Turbo and Huddy versus Pierce, the two biggest guys that are known to drive very aggressively, Bobby Pierce and Tyler Erb, were the villains out of this weekend. And I think it's going to carry over because, I mean, we've watched some other previous races. It's no surprise that JD has some bad blood with some other guys. It's no surprised that Huddy's gotten screwed over twice now because of Pierce. So, will we see retaliation? I don't know, but I feel like there's going to be some really hard racing coming up here in speed weeks, especially this week with Sunshine Nationals. We're going to see those same guys that were out west come down here, and they're going to race each other hard. And I don't think there's going to be any space given.
No, JD is done giving motherfuckers room. I promise you that. He's got nothing to lose this season. And if he sticks to it, jury's out. I have my opinions on it. I think he ends up with a series running for points. The money's too good not to. But if he sticks to his, show and go type schedule, he's done with the games. He's done with getting ran over. He's not going to be giving any guys room whatsoever. You done tugged on Superman's cape. His give a fuck button is broke, and it's just is what it is. As far as the incident with him and Turbo, jury's out. I'm both sides on it. JD kind of, I think, got pissed with Turbo on the front stretch. Same thing that kind of happened every night. That front stretch was tricky to get into one. A guy had a bottom lane, and the guy kind of coming down up top went to angle the corner off to protect a little bit. Yeah, but it seems like there was a lot of collisions there. So I don't know if I'd solely blame the drivers, but collision happened on the front stretch. Turbo chopped JD going into one. Call it what it is. And then JD threw a slider on Turbo. Turbo let off, let him go, just skimmed his nose. Well, Turbo, I mean, JD knew. You can't tell me he didn't know. If Turbo's behind you and you just threw a slider on him, he's throwing one back. So you have to know that JD didn't lift and Turbo, collided with his nose, ripped it up or what have you. But that wasn't the only incident either. You had the Bobby and Hudson incident. Bobby did the same angle going into one. Huddy was running the top. And I think Bobby thought he left him enough room, but then Huddy just, plowed down coming off the berm and didn't. And that was they first off, props to both of them. Miraculously, they both spun out, both kept going. It was insane. But another instance of the blend rule being the blend rule, and it needs fixed. There's no reason two guys should be the caution and then get their spot backs. That's just asinine to me. This weekend, both of our favorite tracks in America starts Thursday. Volusia, one of the greatest places in the world, struggled for a little bit with some new dirt and everything else. But if you haven't been to Volusia, you got to go. Not only is the weather much better than us Midwest cats are used to, one of the best races of the year. And it's not just one race, they go for almost a month at a time. So whatever type of racing you like will be there. 410 winged outlaws are going to be there, both late models and sprint cars at some point in time. But this coming weekend, we got late models going on, and they put on a show there. Some top names I'm watching going into this. How do you not watch Kyle Strickler at Volusia? How do you not watch Gator King himself, Mr. Hoffman at Volusia? And then you obviously have your big dogs that are going to be there too. Nothing else is going on. JD, dumb fast at Volusia. I think last year's when he debuted that big boy motor and just just ran the dog shit out of it. So I'm stoked. I love Volusia. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I'll be there this week and this weekend. Very fortunate for Dirt Car Racing for approving me to be there to cover for the media and all that. So, yeah, hit me up. I'll be doing some media and some videos and articles from this past week and now this week. With all the dirt racing going on for the next month or so, I'm going to be slammed. So, definitely want to take it all in because, well, we got late model palooza going on. Like you said, we got 604s, 602s, and the supers. So no street stocks or V bombers or whatever you want to call them out there, Crown Vics, just straight late models. So hopefully we have a good show. Like you said, with the new dirt and all that, I hope it puts on a great show. It tore up a lot of race cars last year. And I feel like some guys that are trying to redeem themselves from last year are Brian Shirley and Ryan Gustin. They went through like three motors in 1 week at Volusia. So I think they're going to be fast. Obviously, Shirley just announced she's going to Lucas instead of the War of Outlaws. Gustin's returning to the War of Outlaws, but I think those guys will be sneaky fast. And then a guy that I watched win last year during the Sunshine Nationals, which was Garrett Albertson, who won one of the Wild West Shootout races. I think he's going to be fast again.
Yeah, so another good point that we didn't talk about, I didn't have that on my bingo card. I thought Shirley was an outlaw for life. He's always treated that series like home since he's went, coming from the Summer Nats era to go in there. I didn't see him going Lucas. I'd love to know the reasoning behind it. I'm sure he has it, and I'd love to know it, but that one caught me by surprise a little bit. But regardless, I think for the little bit start of Speed Weeks, you're going to have both series competing on the same card. So
Yeah, and I feel like with a lot of guys finally making a commitment to either series, we might not see many more commit, but we might see some decommit just after this weekend. If you have a terrible week at Volusia, starting out with the Sunshine Nationals, you're kind of already behind the eight ball. So we might see some guys that are committed to Outlaws switch over to Lucas. Maybe, just depends. But yeah, I just got to be careful at Volusia with how fast the track is, eats up equipment. I think it'll be a little bit better this year, but with the fast speeds, you never know what can happen. So definitely tune in to Dirt Vision this week, Thursday through Saturday, practices tomorrow. Tune into our social media channels. I'm going to try to get as much content as I can behind the scenes with the drivers. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone for tuning into this episode. Got anything left, Cushion Banging?
I'm sure this was a stupid question, but is our cracker going to be there? Are you going to see our cracker?
I will see our Florida cracker.
All right. Well, you tell him hi and tell him that we need him on here again. I want to talk to him before we get hot and heavy. No, tune in to Volusia. Come back, see us. You saw who called. He'll be on this weekend. So I'm excited, man. I'm stoked. Check out all the new merch uploaded. I'm filtering through shit. I'm getting rid of the old shit, putting new shit on. Some of it's getting me in trouble. We'll live through it. We're here, and shit's badass. It's flying. We're going.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Darren Knight joining us on the next episode. Thanks everyone for tagging us, for supporting us, buying the merch, and we'll see you guys in the next one.